Cool intro sound.
Alright, how's it going guys? AlphaYGO back here again, and today, well, we're gonna be doing something a little bit different than what we've been doing on the channel. Basically a demo of a really fun deck I've been working on. It's really fun, it's really cool. I wouldn't really say it's super competitive, but maybe with some time and some development it could turn out to be something really amazing. But for the time being, it's just a fun deck to, you know, kind of just mess around with. If you guys haven't already guessed it by, well, essentially the title and the thumbnail. And if you haven't been living under a rock, you already know that Dragon Link is probably one of the most popular decks at the moment because of all the hype going on with the FTK and a lot of success in the other variants. If you're anything like me and you don't have the money to basically go and afford things like Safer, you know, you're kind of stuck just not having the optimal cards to play this list at its most optimal rate. And if you're also like me, you're probably quite destroyed at the thought of, you know, Electromite being gone from us. But essentially, right now, we're just going to be messing with a really for fun list here. We're basically going to be messing with Dragon Link Pendulum. And obviously you guys might think, okay, this sounds incredibly dumb. I don't know how the two ever coexist in any form or capacity. Well, I'm going to be showing you guys just a quick screenshot of what the end boards look like, so you guys know what you're getting yourselves into before we continue on with the video. So the first end board, we have what is essentially an Apollo over here with like a Savage, a Griffin, the Vortex under Buster Lock with a Zephyr Divine Strike, and of course we have like a Red MD in our hand, which is like really cool because we never had to use Red MD for our combo. It's just nice to be there. And we have set up skills, which basically allows us to just have really good follow on the next turn. During the midst of the combo, I can also explain that like we were supposed to be having a little bit more than this, like some more follow play with like a set Dragon Ravine off the Griffin. We just forgot to add at a certain point. This combo here is something I made up. It was based off of Shumping's initial variant of the Dragon Link, where he was going to Lindris into Quad Bro. I just took my own take on it with the Pendulum engine, and this is what it evolved to. Of course, the list still needs a lot of work, but both variants are 6 cards list. When I say both variants, I mean there are 2 versions of this. So this is number 1 version, and the second version is this one, where we focus on making calamities. So in the recent LCS, Shumping changed his list to basically accommodate for a VFD play more so than anything else. As you guys probably know, the most popular version of the deck is the FTK version. I think there's a couple ways you can go about that deck, and personally I just don't really mess with FTKs. I just kind of like making these for fun big boards. Essentially, in the VFD combo version, we end up with an Apollo along with the VFD, but alongside that we have the Borreload Savage, which in the non-Pendulum version is relatively okay to make. Sometimes you just need that extra extender or what you draw off the Crocosaur, but in our version here we also end with a Buster Lock and a Counter Trap. And of course you can kind of see some details here. We have 5 counters remaining on our Abductor after everything was said and done, so we have really good follow-up play for switching another Pendulum monster out on the next turn. And on top of that, the deck theoretically should be able to make Vortex. We just weren't able to make it in this board here. But yeah, so with that said, so if you guys didn't notice, I'm doing this on PowerPoint, so leave me alone. So that's it guys, let's get into the combos. Alright, so for our first hand here, we actually opened up, well, pretty good but pretty mediocre as well. As you can see, we opened the Divine Strike, which is basically a Garnet, but you know, we're pretty okay with that. So obviously we're starting off with a Dark One play, which acts as a Striker Dragon play, and thankfully we have one extender, which is what all you really need for the combo to go off. And as you know, we're kind of just popping off as usual with regular Dragon Link shenanigans. If none of you guys have seen the Dragon Link play before, what you're seeing here is basically the standard way to go about it. You know, you kind of just go to Striker Dragon and Romulus and then this and that. Well, of course over here you just saw me ditch the Abductor. The reason for that is because normally the Abductor would make it so this hand would be even more bonkers and could play through even a lot more cards, but I decided to pitch it as if I didn't draw it off the Noctovision because I just wanted to show what this deck could do without the element of RNG. We're playing with a Garnet in our hand, and we just discarded a really good draw off Noctovision. So of course we're dumping Absolrator, getting ourselves a Rocket, and then you guys kind of know what's going on here. We summon off the Tracer from the Boost Sector launch. We can go into Link Cross, we can go into Firebird, busting out the Rose Dragons down, making Maiden, busting out more Rose Dragons, and then we got the Apollo over here. So as you can see here, I actually moved the Apollo over to the left side. The combo works better when you work from the left compared to the right. You can still do it from the right side, actually Monster Zone, but it just makes more sense. on the left side, in my head at least. Zone management is super important for this combo, and it's really integral that everything is placed in the right order and location. So you'll see me mess up a few times. Well, I'll probably cut it out because I don't want you guys to see it. So if anyone didn't catch it, we banished the Garden Maiden over here to bring out the White Rose that can go into our LP. LP can just bust out any other dragon, so we chose Black Metal here just so we can plus off it. But what happens next is we end up going to Red MD. We don't actually need to use Red MD. And in case you guys just missed it, we used both guard dragons to bring out the AlphaYGO dragon. You can also bring out Noctivision. We're just bringing out any level 7 dragon to enable that absolute to vortex play you'll see in a little bit. You also see that Delindris is over here, but as I said before, zone management is very important, and I actually put this guy in the wrong place, so don't mind him right there. I'm gonna rearrange them all in the right location in a little bit. I'm just going off with some other pendulums slash Zephyr plays just so we can get all those pieces into our hand immediately. So yeah. So what we have here is every monster put out in their exact proper location. So essentially what we want to do is have obviously AlphaYGO here where the guard dragons used to be. We put those guard dragons into Delindris on the far left side. We can then pendulum summon out an extra deck to Apollo's Arrow, which is fine. Summoning out Harmonizing from our hand to the very end here and bringing out the Dragon Pit. The location of all these monsters is very important because there's a precise way that these things have to be put for the combo to work. And after our giant pendulum summon, we can bust a Black Garden because we will then make an absolute over here on the far right, again very important, which will stack up a token, in this case a counter on the Black Garden just to represent it. And then we'll use Harmonizing plus Delindris to make a Union Carrier. Obviously Union Carrier only needs same type or attribute, and we use 2 darks in this instance. So we have Union Carrier, again important to have it right under the Apollo. And then 2 counters on Black Garden means we can bring out 1600 monster, aka Rocket Tracer. And then at this point, since the Rocket was special summon, Delindris will come back out. We have a Link 2 and some extra fodder over here. So we're gonna be going in to the Nightmare Griffin. You guys might have noticed I didn't add anything else for Nui. I kind of forgot during the combo, but obviously we had the trap already, so it's fine. But essentially, we can make our Nightmare Griffin here, and what's cool is, if we really wanted to, I wouldn't suggest discarding one of these, but whatever Zephyr Nui added you don't need anymore, and you could have essentially discarded it off of Griffin, so we could have fetched anything else we wanted. A good card I suggest is either Ravine or Brute Sector Launch. These could be really good follow-up plays and important for the next turn. So essentially here, of course, leaving off for where we were, Absolute Dragon will bust us out Vortex. Now, what we can do is use Union Carrier to attach the buster onto the Vortex as obviously Dragon to Dragon, and then we can finally use Rocket Tracer to pop the Union Carrier, bust out a random rocket, and go into our Royal Savage. And then just to finish up here, we obviously attach Hacker Fabrics, and of course we have a Divine Strike. Alright, so for our next replay here, what we have is another, fairly similar hand. The lists aren't too different from one another, but this one is the VFD play, which in my opinion is really cool. So over here we have Abductor, and well, if you don't open Black Metal, you just need basically 2 dragons. In that case, we have that. So moving forward, we summon a Rocket Tracer. We have the means to go into our standard Dragon Link combo with Noctivision, etc, etc. It's nice that we drew the extender here. That just kind of helps us out a little bit more. Abductor is really amazing in this situation because you're running through a bunch of field spells naturally through the combo because of Dragon Link, and you can end up just searching whatever you really need for this situation. And of course, this is where the line differs a little bit from the previous combo that I showed you. So what's happening here is we're busting out an Omni Brotor. Brotor will just pitch us whatever. In this case, we ended up pitching whatever we draw Noctivision. Again, sort of a handicap, but these cards are very important for us. And keep in mind, the VFD combo does allow us to draw 2 again, so even though it feels like a waste to do something with quick launch, we will be able to hopefully see something really amazing. In this setup already, we'll make VFD 100% certain, but Magical Abductor here can essentially just search us as Zephyrath and secure us as Zephyr Nui for the counter trap. In other situations, if you already opened the Zephyr portion, you can get yourself a Harmonization and go even further, but essentially this is just securing you one of your other engines 100%, which is why Abductor is just so powerful alongside the Dragon Link combo. Consistency is a bit of a problem, but that's one of those things that happen when you just play a for fun deck like this. So obviously when we're moving forward, we are making a Pisty, and then we're just gonna bust out the Levianeer over here. I made a mistake here. You do the Black Garden after the Levianeer comes out, because I don't know the ruling of whether these tokens can come out if you're under Guard Dragons yourself, because I'm not sure. I believe you're technically the one summoning them to your opponent's fields. So I'm not 100% sure if you can do it under this. Regardless, the combo still works. You just do it after Levineer lands on the field. The reason I say that is obviously Levineer over here will rip one out of your hand, but you banish all the Yard Dragons plus Levineer for the Trishula fusion. That would be your first counter. Banishing Tempest, getting Draco. I summoned Tracer here preemptively because I countered a Levineer summon, but again, it doesn't matter because his Draco coming out would have been this second token, so don't worry about that too much. And over here, we can go into... well, actually, before I do that, I decided to use Abductor to get the Zephyrath because I didn't want to draw into Zephyr package preemptively. You can do it the other way around because it's a bit of a gamble. The Zephyr package is very tiny with the monsters. You only run one Zephyrath and one Zephyr Nui at the moment, and just a bunch of the other search spells. So technically, if you saw the search spell, you could have dedicated this to a Harmonizing Magician instead, but we have Duelist Alliance, so I felt it was pretty safe just to go Zephyrath and hope to see whatever other extenders we can get our hands into. It doesn't really matter, it's a bit of a gamble, but we do get rewarded here because we end up getting a pretty non-important card for discount fodder for the Pendulum Call, and the matchup vector here is very nice actually because it works really well for making Union Carrier with our Zephyr Nui. You'll see the end board here is the exact same thing I showed you before. When you bust out Apollo and VFD, you're already like probably in a really good spot to win the game. But other variants usually bank on drawing into hand traps. We just bank in drawing it more cool combo. So in this instance, we actually end up getting ourselves on an Abductor, which is nice for the Union Carrier player, and we were able to resolve our Pendulum Call for some Magicians here. Fortunately, we didn't have the means of obtaining enough level 7s for the Vortex play, but you know, we can't complain. So we end up going into essentially, well, of course, a counter trap for one. We end up getting ourselves a Panzer Borolo Savage, plus a Buster for Borolo Savage, and of course, we net ourselves a counter trap. And for those of you who ended up staying up to this long, I'll give you a sneak peek of what the deck list is going to be saying for both these variants. I think if you stuck around this long, then that means you're probably interested in what the deck is trying to look like. So here's a quick glimpse of it. I won't go into too much detail, but I will probably make a future video on this if there's enough excitement over it, and I can kind of discuss different points of the deck and, you know, maybe future things that need to be changed, because there are a lot of problems with the deck technically, but I think there's a lot of room to grow. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed both these combos. They're really fun to do. With no serious tournaments going on right now, especially in real life, I feel as though having fun with the game is the best option for all of us. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.